An African man's UK dream has turned into nightmare. John has lost everything that he has worked for. As we're speaking now, he's staying in the United Kingdom, is landing in the trade. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at the Lunch Club, where we bring the latest update about the daily lived experience of immigrants in the diaspora. I am your one and only Frank. We share stories on this platform to inform and educate our audience. John and his wife, they came to the United Kingdom more than 3 years ago. John left his wife in his home country. John was the one that sponsored his wife. He married his wife. He met the wife when the wife was very, very young, just after 18 years old. John left the home country. This brother traveled to Europe before he came to the UK. He traveled across the Mediterranean Sea. That is the journey he took. He went through from his own country, ended up in Libya, crossed the Mediterranean Sea, and he ended up in Italy. From Italy, John went to France. He was staying in France, didn't have no papers, he was struggling. When he eventually reconnected with his woman, he paid the bride price for the woman in absentia, and he then advised his woman to go and live with his family. So the wife, whose name is Mariam, was now living with John's family in their home country. John and Mariam, they are from the same country. John said it was his idea. He was the one that advised Mariam to go and study nursing. Coming to the UK was not in the plan. He just wanted the woman to go and study something that she will use to get a job when she finished the course. The woman went to study nursing, and John, who did not have papers in France, was the one that sponsored his wife throughout the study. The wife was initially living with John's mom, and she was going to school. When the wife then finished school, she was working. She then moved out of John's mom's house, but she was coming to check on John's mom every time. John said throughout all this stay, when he was in France, he was sending the woman money every month. Despite the fact that Miriam was working, John was still taking care of the wife. Eventually, the wife wanted to go and join John in France. Somebody suggested the idea of COS for them to come to the UK. John was the one that brought the idea. When he first told Mariam about coming to England, Mariam said, "No, I am not coming to England. I am coming to meet you where you are." Mariam did not understand that John did not have papers. All John explained to her is that their life will be better in England. In fact, John was the one that persuaded Mariam to come to the UK, that he would eventually join them. So eventually, Mariam came to the UK through COS. She was working in the care sector, in a care home. Mariam, as we speak right now, she is now registered as a nurse in the UK. Mariam then advised John to fly to their home country to go and apply to come and join her in the UK, which John did. John flew to their home country, sorted out, applied, and he came to join his lovely wife in the UK. John said that decision, he did not know that when he started coming to the UK, that was the beginning of him digging his grave. John joined his wife in the UK. John said the woman that he left in Africa more than 8 years ago, they have been communicating all this while. The woman was totally different when he arrived in England. John said, before you know what, the woman will tell him, "You are illiterate. You're not educated." He was working as a cleaner initially. Working as a cleaner, he said the wife would disrespect him to the point where the wife was not even proud to introduce John as her husband. John said he was in pain. When he would complain about things, the woman would say, you should be grateful that I brought you from the misery you were in France to the UK. Remember, it was John that sponsored this lady's school. He paid for her to go and study nursing. It was John that came up with the idea for him and the woman to come to the UK and pay to the woman to initially come. But now the guy is now saying that John is an illiterate, that she is not even proud that to call John her husband, and she is now telling John that you should be grateful that I remove you from the misery that you were living in France. John said, what killed him? Him and the girl, they went to Primark, a retail shop, they were buying something. They had this agreement. John said, in public, this guy slapped John in public. Some brothers are going through pain in the diaspora. The guy slapped John in public. John said he was ashamed. He had to walk away before people start looking at him, asking what is going on. When he got home, he was asking his missus, why is there all this thing that is going on? Why is it going on like this? The woman will tell John, listen, this one you're talking like a village man. Is this how they behave? John said the woman wanted him to look inferior. The woman will tell him that you're not looking older than your mate. You look at your mate. Any little thing he says, it's always quarrel. Before you know what, they started having problems in the relationship. What John didn't know is that the girl was now having an affair with someone at work. John said he was suspecting, but he just couldn't believe that the woman that he thought he knew is now completely different from the person that he's now living with in England. One day, he said every time the girl will always want her phone to be with her. When she's going to the toilet, she wants her phone to be with her. Everywhere she goes, her phone is with her. But John said he was suspecting that something was wrong. One day, he ran into somebody that worked with the wife, and he was talking to the guy, and the guy said, you haven't seen your wife at work in the last 2 days. Meanwhile, the woman is going to work. But John thinks that the woman is going to work, but the woman is not actually going to work. The girl, somebody dropped a message. The girl mistakenly left her mobile phone at home one day. She left her mobile phone in the kitchen where she was cooking. She rushed to the toilet. That was when message popped up on top of the WhatsApp. She started seeing messages about what the man was saying. John said when he saw that, he realized when he was going through all this pain, he spoke with people who have lived in England for a long time. They told him, bro, if you know you want to do, there are two options. You either endure or you pack your bag and return back. Because the girl, you are the dependent. The girl, she's the main applicant. So there's nothing you can do. John said when he saw that message, he was shocked and he couldn't believe all these things. This is the girl that he paid bride price for, even when John was living on the street in France. He paid bride price because the girl keeps saying, my family have been disturbing you, left me a long time ago, you haven't come back. They need to see commitment from you, and he had to go and pay bride price. He's done everything that a man needs to do to prove to a woman that he wants to be with her. And despite everything that John said he has done, things were still the way. As soon as John saw that messages from the wife's phone, John said he just couldn't hold himself together. He came back, the girl was lying, say, oh, it's nothing. But the message was so obvious that he knew that this was not just ordinary friend. John lost his temper, it became deregulated, and it became aggressive. Eventually, John held the girl's neck. He was dragging the girl. Eventually, when the girl threatened to call the cops, John had to leave the girl alone. Meanwhile, after that incident, the girl just told John that you illiterate, you that I removed from misery in France, and you had the audacity to hold my neck. John said, you know what? This is too much for me. John did not know that this woman, she has been advised to take restraining order because the girl called the police. John was asked to leave. John now found himself in a situation where he's now living with another friend whom they come from the same village. But because this guy was so blinded by love, he kept going back to the girl, going back, even went as far as going back to the girl's work. Eventually, the restraining order that the girl has taken says that John is restrained from being anywhere close to the girl. If John is close to the girl, he's breaching the restraining order. The girl initially said to John, when she said she wanted to remove John's name from the visa, people were telling the girl from their home country. John told their people back home. People were calling the girl saying, this man that has done everything for you, this man that changed your life, even if you do not want to be with the man, please let him be in the country. Since you guys don't have any children yet, let him be in the country rather than you removing his name. John said he was happy to be there, but the problem is that John kept going out to meet the girl at work. He said he just didn't know what was going on with that. He kept going back to the girl's place of work, begging the girl to forgive, so that he can come back home. Before you know what was happening, the girl reported John that John has breached the restraining order, which made it very, very clear that John must not be anywhere close to the girl. Before you know what, John ended up being arrested. As we are speaking now, I have spoken to the girl. I have spoken to John. John has been arrested for breaching the restraining order, and the girl has said, I am no longer interested in this marriage. Everything I want you to, I withdrew the sponsorship, and John is now in a situation whereby the girl has withdrawn her sponsorship, and the girl said she wants to press charges for the restraining order that John has breached. What is your advice? John was the man who paid for the girl's school fees. He met this girl when this girl just turned 19. He went back to Europe by land, crossed the Mediterranean Sea, went to Italy, from Italy to France, and he sponsored this girl everything. And now this guy, John is said to me, Frank, I could have stayed in France. The only reason I came to the United Kingdom of this girl, I could have married other girls, but because I wanted to follow my heart, that is why I waited for this girl. And this is how this girl and her family want to reward me. What is your advice? Do you have any advice to John? Do you blame John? Let me know what your views are in the comment section. This guy that left Africa more than 11 years ago, he's returning back to Africa with nothing. The girl that he invested in, the girl is now a nurse in England, and she's not at risk of returning back. There are valuable lessons that you can learn from this video. If you know anyone that will benefit from this video, kindly share to them. John will watch this video. If you have any advice for John, leave the comment in the comment section, because a lot of people are going through pain. Hopefully someone will learn. Don't forget to like this video, share with